All right, guys, what's up? Welcome to episode number 2 of everything you need and want to know about buying your first home. So before I jump into everything you need and want to know before you buy your first home, let's get first things first out of the way. Because you may be like, oh, I need to buy a house because I'm this age. All my friends are buying houses. It's just like the next thing to check off the list. That might be what you're thinking. But in reality, you probably don't even want to buy a house. You know what I'm saying? You may not even be mentally or financially qualified for home ownership. This right here, this episode is an introductory. Well, it's a wean them out type of episode. Wean you out or bring you in type of episode. And it's entitled 5 Questions to Ask Yourself Before Buying a Home. Well, before starting the home buying process. So I actually got these 5 questions and this post idea from an article on moneyunder30.com. I'm not going to go look for the exact article to give whoever wrote it credit, but just know it's on there. Look up 5 questions to ask yourself before buying a home. It's a pretty good article, very well written. It's entertaining and stuff. My thing is, bruh, I'll shout you out here. When I finish recording, I'll shout you out for real. But yeah, maybe you could do a recording, my nigga. But anyway, let's get into it. So question number 1 is, are your finances in order? So, with that being asked, how much debt do you have? Debt meaning credit card debt. Do you have a car note or student loans and personal loans or payday loans? How much do you have? Run the numbers, count it all up and see how much you owe. And then you have to ask yourself, does it make sense for me to try to buy a house if I'm, $200,000 in debt? You know what I'm saying? Student loans that cost a lot, especially for you if you got advanced degrees. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, does it make sense for you to buy a house at this time? Especially if you have student loans, I don't want to say it's a fact of life, but it seems like everyone's got them. The scam of college. But, anyway, I'm not going to get on that soapbox. But, yeah. But, even if you don't have student loans, what if you have a bunch of credit cards? You're just adding to the debt that you already have. Do you really want to do that? And then there are additional costs to owning a house instead of just the note. You know what I'm saying? The note, which is, the payments that you make on the mortgage that you take out. Do you want to add to that debt? Do you? Maybe you do. Maybe you do. You know what I'm saying? But, remember this. Think about this. Know this. If you're always using a credit card to pay bills because you don't have enough money every month, what kind of sense does it make for you to buy a house? What kind of sense does that make? It makes no sense, okay? So pay your credit card bills off. Pay your debts down, okay? Pay them debts down. Aggressively attack them. Attack. Don't add to it because you obviously got financial problems right there, okay? And the thing is, I also want to throw this out there. It's not that you can't have any debt at all to own a house or to buy a house. There's a lot of people buying houses who have debts. No, you can get a house, but the thing is, how much in debt are you? Okay? Let's not add insult to injury or injury to insult. I don't know. But whatever. Okay. So also in the same topic of finances, what's your credit score? So that's the number that the banks use to determine how well you handle credit. So a low credit score shows that you aren't a good candidate for borrowing money. And your credit score can be bad because, you don't pay your bills on time or you just haven't paid a debt at all. Like some people they ain't paid their student loans. It's like, whatever, I ain't gonna pay. I ain't got no money for that. Which is a lie, because if you working, like, you could pay a smaller balance. Like, what exactly are you doing? Where you working? Nowhere. Nah, that's a cop out. If you borrow the money, pay it back. The wicked borrow and never repay. I don't care if you couldn't get a job. You still borrow their money. Pay it back. May take a while, but you still need to pay it. But yeah. So that's another thing. Do you pay on time? That could make your credit score go down. Me, I be having money to pay, but I don't pay on time sometimes for some things, because I have to go up there or I forget. So with that being said, you probably should set up automatic payments, because it looks bad if you don't pay on time. Even if you do have the money, it's just, I happen to forget. Don't you hate that when people owe you money and you're like, okay, pay me back at this, that, and the third, and they're like, oh, I totally forgot. Okay, well, come on now. Some people's credit scores go down with you. So imagine how banks feel. They may have all the money, but the thing is, the way they're set up, I ain't set my business up for you to pay me late. You need to pay me on time. Otherwise, go rent. Okay, go rent a house. Don't play with my money. I may be Bank of America and trifling or Wells Fargo, not giving all the girls their loans and everything, but still, that's just what I do. I paid the cost to be a boss, and you haven't. Okay, if you were so ready, you could have paid cash, but you came to me asking for money. That's how, you know what I'm saying? So don't get in your feelings and be all upset if you get foreclosed on because you ain't pay your bills and your debts. You signed up for it, okay? Nobody made you borrow any money. You did it yourself. So yeah, think about credit scores like that. Think of it personally. Think of it like you're a person and you let somebody borrow some money and they don't pay you on time when they said they're gonna pay you, or they just be like, I ain't gonna pay you at all. I just don't feel like doing it. And they just go on with their life. No, that's trifling. That's why your credit score is low. And sometimes your credit score can be low because you like hospital bills, which can be very high. You may be paying, but And also another thing, some things that don't show up on your credit financially, some of y'all out there have judgments, and they're going to come up when you try to buy a house, especially if you're getting a loan. Judgments and tax liens. Sometimes it doesn't show up on your credit report, but whoever you owe money to, they can file a judgment with the state, or the county that you live in, so they can get your money. If something were if you were to buy a house or sell a house, it's like, oh no, because their lien will have precedent over your mortgage, so yeah, no, whoever you're borrowing from wants to be in first lien position. And so if you have judgments in debt, it's going to catch up to you. I've seen a lot of deals not go because people have buku judgments. They thought they were just going to buy a house and you owe somebody some money. You thought wrong. Pay your bills. Okay? So, yeah. Are your finances in order? That's question number 1. Question number 2. Have you saved enough money for a down payment? I need to turn this down, girl. So, our FHA loans, which are government-backed loans, and conventional loans, which are just not government-backed. So, with FHA loans, typically they require you put 3.5% down as a down payment, whereas conventional loans require typically 5%. It could be a little bit less, but let's just run with that number. So let's give you an example. So the average listing price of the average home listing price in Memphis is $110,000. So 3% of that would be around $3,000, and 5% would be around $5,000. And that's not too much. So it's doable, but ideally you'll want to put more down so your note isn't as high. You know what I'm saying? More is better. More is better. But yeah, so you can, that's an easy thing to save. $3,000, $5,000. You you can do that. That's doable, okay? And there's also down payment assistance from the city and other programs. So yeah, you could do that. You can get it, girl, if you really want to buy a house. But if you can't even do that, you can't even save for a down payment, God, I don't want to buy a house. You know what I'm saying? That it kind of shows like where your head is at. If you can't do the initial work to get what you want, then you probably really don't want it. Okay? All right, so question number 3. Can you afford the payment, aka the note? So, realtors and people always say, you can own a house for the same amount that you pay in rent. But there are additional costs associated with owning a house, such as property taxes. Here in Shelby County, you can go, you can see how much taxes are on any property, So if there's a house that you like, go type in City of Memphis tax office or Shelby County trustee, put in the address, and you can see how much the taxes are each year. So yeah, you can have an idea about how much taxes will be because it's public. That's public record. And also, what was I getting at? Can you afford the payment? So property taxes, can you afford that? Typically, people include their property taxes in their mortgage, in their note. So if you have it escrowed, your bank just pays it, so it's not something you have to think about. So that can just be a part of your payment, or you could waive it. But like, I just want to pay my property taxes when I feel like it. But you need to pay them on time because, your house could be foreclosed on or put up in a tax sale because you haven't paid your taxes. So if you're forgetful like myself, it's like, oh yeah, I forgot, I don't even know. Don't, just escrow them, okay? Okay, so you got property taxes and homeowners insurance, which can also be included in your mortgage as well, escrowed in your mortgage. But yeah, homeowners insurance, they cost, it just depends on where you live at. A lot of things come into play that determine how much your homeowners insurance can be. Like if you live in a flood zone, or if you live in a high risk area, I guess, where there's a lot of break-ins and everything, your insurance is probably gonna be higher. But that can be rolled into your payments as well. Then you have HOA and condo dues. So that's more so a thing with new construction homes in Cordova and Collierville and stuff like that. And HOA dues, they help to pay for HOA and condo dues for the upkeep of the outside or common areas of a neighborhood, which is fine. And then there are also regulations with HOA, so that's something else you probably need to consider. We'll talk about that later about picking a house, but you got to pay those because you could also get foreclosed on for not paying your HOA dues. Then utilities and garbage. If you have a big old house, you will be paying more in utilities because it costs more to warm up or cool down a big house. And garbage, that's included in your taxes with the city of Memphis. But if you decide to live in the county, you're going to have to pay someone separately as well. So yeah, those are things you need to consider when you're purchasing a home. Like, can you afford the payment and everything that comes with it? So with that being said, you should do a budget to see what you can afford. But also never get a monthly payment more than 25% of your take-home pay. That's including taxes and insurance. Most lenders will let you borrow more than that, but don't be an ass clown. Live at or beneath your means. Don't try to get don't take the maximum amount out. Be like, yeah, I can get all of this. Why you gotta get all that? You don't need all that. Okay, you really don't. You really don't need all that. Folks be out here buying big 4-bedroom, 5-bedroom houses with, just doing the most. Ain't got but one kid, if any, trying to stunt. Rooms be empty. Why you got this big house for, huh? Big house, all these empty rooms. You should have got you a little house so you could decorate 3 rooms and be done with it. You the ass clown bought a big ass house trying to stunt for us. House empty. Hello, empty house. No. And you just started life, really. You just started being an adult. Why are you trying to have a house of somebody who has worked hard and started a career and has had a mortgage before? This your first house. Start small. Don't be a damn fool. Okay, next question. Where am I at? Question number 4. Okay, question number 4. Are you ready to settle down? Settling down. I don't mean like settle down with a nice lady or a guy and start a family. No, because you can settle down in a rented house or an apartment. You definitely can. Like settle down as in have a relationship. But do you plan on staying in your home for at least 5 years? If you have plans on not permanently being where you're at, like, it's like, I don't plan on staying here. Like, once I graduate, like people, if you're doing residency, because, Memphis, we'll say that because we have that college and it's a lot of hospitals, St. Jude or whatever. If you're doing a residency, you probably shouldn't buy a house unless you know for sure that you're going to be here. Why is that? You know what I'm saying? Why? Well, it's hard to break even on a home unless you're in it for at least 3 to 5 years. And why is that? Because of the cost. So you're going to spend at least 5% of the value of the home when you buy it. That's, closing, your down payment. Which your down payment, I think it includes your closing costs. Well, lawyers' fees, other closing costs like moving and all that other stuff, that's not included. But when you sell your house, you need to expect to spend 10% of the value of your home, because as the seller, you are responsible for paying the realtor's commission. So unless you decide to sell your house by yourself, which isn't really a good idea unless you're a real estate agent, you're going to be paying commission, which is usually around 6%, 3% to the buyer's agent and 3% to your agent. But you can shop around. But typically, if the buyer has an agent, which they should, because it don't cost nothing to have a buyer's agent, you're going to be paying 3%. And so you'll be spending 10%. So that includes closing costs. You're going to have to pay closing costs again to the title company for doing paperwork and all that other stuff. You're going to have to pay the title search, which is around like $300. You're going to have to repair your house, because a lot of times people, when you get a house, you're not doing the maintenance on it like you should. People just live in their house and it just gets lived in. I'm like, oh, I gotta remember to do this. A lot of people don't do that, especially nowadays. They just live in a house, has to be towed up to the gods. But so my cosmetics, staging, because unless you're like interior designer Becky Bob, your house gonna be kind of bummy looking, and people are gonna come in there and be like, ugly, like, I don't like this. So you may have to pay someone to stage it so it sells quicker. Repairs, because if someone's getting an FHA loan or something, the lender's gonna be like, well, these repairs need to be made on this house before you can get a loan. And because you want to sell the house, you're gonna have to make the repairs so it can sell, so you can move. And then, like, if it comes to the point where you have to move because, you have a job where you're relocating all the time, even though you don't live in the house, you're still going to have to make the mortgage payments while you're waiting for it to sell. So if you're a transient person, or, you're not sure what the future holds for you, do not buy a house, because you'll end up, sometimes, for the most part, if you haven't lived there that long and you haven't built equity in the house, you're going to have to pay money to sell your house. Sometimes you're going to have to pay money. Like, some people, like, for me, from what I've been noticing, just depending on who the person is. Like, sometimes people have to bring $8,000 more to close. You know what I'm saying? No, you just shouldn't buy a house, okay? If you don't think you're stable, if you ain't got no stable job, you don't need to buy a house. Don't waste your money, okay? Don't waste your money, don't waste your time. And then final question, ask yourself, can you handle repairs? So, with renting a house, the landlord is responsible for the repairs and the maintenance and everything, unless y'all had somewhere in the agreement that you were. But shit, what you renting for if you gotta do all that? I ain't doing all that. I mean, unless maybe you're like a handyman, then that would make sense. But so if you're not handy, you'll need the resources, i.e. money, connections to hire someone to do those repairs. So if that's not appealing to you, having to pay someone to do repairs or you mowing the lawn and painting and all the other stuff, you should just continue renting. You know what I'm saying? Like, you ain't got to get a house. You do not have to get a house. But if you answered yes to all of those questions, I think you should continue listening to what I have to say. Because, home ownership might be for you. And also, y'all, I'm going to throw this out there. There are different types of housing where, if you're someone who's I'm not doing no outside handyman stuff. You should live in a condo where they take care of those things. You know what I'm saying? Or somewhere where because for the most part, condos ain't got that much of a yard and your dues pay for them to do the maintenance. So yeah, that's something I would like to do. Like, I don't want no big backyard for the kids to run around in. Sorry, kids. There's a park. I don't want no yard. I don't want no yard. I don't want no yard. No. I'm not the lord of the manor. I don't want it. So, yeah. Don't feel bad about renting if it fits into your long-term plans and, mentally it's like, I don't want to do all that. That's too much responsibility. Other things are more important to me. Than to be tied down with a 30 or 15-year mortgage. I want to travel. I want to do this and the third. If that's a priority to you, keep renting. Otherwise, you will wind up house poor. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is, you can buy a house that's cheap so you can continue to do whatever you want to do. But don't be a damn fool and get the most expensive house when you don't even really want to be at home. Get you a little jaunt you can pay off and you can also go have fun. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, thanks y'all for tuning in. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can email me at lasharadquinn@gmail.com. All right, bye y'all.